Okay, we're back after that heart-wrenching loss to Flash Wolves to see TSM get laid down into their grave 6 feet deep by Misfits. I don't know. I still feel like this is a foregone conclusion. I feel like the team morale is at an all-time low at this point in the game. So like, I don't know how much actually gonna be able to analyze from this video, just because I almost feel like TSM's out of it. Like they're not even trying at this point, or that they just they're demoralized. You know what I mean? And whenever a team is demoralized, like your chances of victory are a lot lower. So I don't know. We'll get right into it. Same way as always. We'll check out the picks and bans, and let's just get into it.
But for EU to be sending Misfits here, a team everyone thought would be 4th place, now fighting for 2nd in the group, is exceptional.
And I think no matter what happens for Misfits, this has been
A lot of
such an
people could have
exceptional
predicted that
tournament for
Misfits
them.
were
So
going to
much promise
do
coming
well
out
in
of
this
this
group.
team.
I actually predicted
In
they
1
would
year,
get
they
third.
have made
I
the
thought
growth
TSM would get
from
second,
challenger
but
scene to 2nd place in Europe. Now, challenging TSM here in a
I don't think it was such a
tiebreaker
surprise.
to go to quarterfinals with 5 players who have never
Okay.
been to Worlds, and I just think that's exceptional.
Exceptional.
And I think no matter what happens
Okay.
for Misfits, this has been
This is
such an
happening
exceptional
again.
tournament for them. So much.
Misfits ban Lulu. Okay. I'm not sure. I think they either banned Lulu or Janna the first time they beat TSM. So you already know that they're on the attack the bot lane plan. Try to get a bot lane that's not like the survive forever late game scaling bot lanes. You know they're on that plan. Like they just banned one of the top 3 supports. We've seen this plan before. What do we do?
Promise coming out of this team. In 1 year, they have made the growth from challenger scene to 2nd place in Europe.
We ban Janna. Why? Why are we banning Janna? Unless like we're both on the plan of okay, let's not play Ardent Sensor supports. Let's get rid of Ardent Sensor supports this laning phase. Maybe that's the way TSM's thinking. But I don't see a point in that. Like I actually don't think that's the problem for TSM, or has been the problem for TSM in any of these matches, is like the Ardent Sensor support meta. I don't think that's a problem at all. I almost like if Misfits wants to attack the Ardent Sensor meta bot lane, let them attack the Ardent Sensor meta bot lane. Like force them to make the bans for their plans. Stop helping them with your bans.
Now, challenging TSM here in a tiebreaker to go to quarterfinals.
And then Misfits ban Galio, which is, yeah, it's a good ban against TSM. Like, I don't know why TSM hasn't played it this entire time in the group stages, because they've played so much of it, but or in the NALCS, but you know, all the Chinese teams have shown that Galio is still viable. It's still really strong, especially with like the carry ADC compositions. So Misfits are like, you know what? Let's just get rid of Galio. We don't want to see Bjergsen on Galio. We don't want them to bust out that curveball, and like, you know, we know they can play it, so let's just get rid of it.
With 5 players who have never been to Worlds, and I just think that's exceptional.
Well, the draft has started and already TSM have made a minor change. Kalista has missed her spot in the first ban slot, but she's back in on the
Kalista's
second.
banned.
But Janna Lulu being
This is
banned
just
early
a classic.
tips hands very heavily for this early stage of the draft.
You have to think that Misfits probably
Misfits
don't want to give over Rakan again.
So they once again, like, these are really standard bans. These bans are so standard from Misfits. Neither team has completely like thrown a curveball into their banning phase. They're not really showing their hand in the first banning phase. It's just a standard draft.
To Biofrost, who has been
I still
very,
think
very
the Janna
effective
ban
on
was
it. So the
dumb.
question does TSM ban it away, or are they happy to actually play into that? Perhaps give it as a first pick. There's a lot of options, and kind of the thought process here has to really be looked at a couple steps ahead.
I am curious to see where Ignar wants to go for Misfits as well. Rakan is
Alright,
definitely
and
something
TSM
that should
bans
be banned
out
from
Rakan.
TSM.
So obviously
Wasn't sure if
TSM doesn't want to go into the Ardent supports. They don't want to deal with Ardent supports. They just want to play a bot lane where Doublelift and Biofrost have kill pressure on Hansama and Ignar, and like just play a super standard game.
We're going to throw the gauntlet and say try your best. I feel like Rakan with Lulu Janna gone just gives too much to a team.
Well, we'll see if Misfits change it up again and stick with something like the Blitzcrank all the
Personally, and it's just a preference of mine, I would still rather see Xayah banned against Misfits. I have no idea why in this whole pick ban phase, I don't think I saw one team ban Xayah from Hansama. This guy plays so much fucking Xayah. I repeat, so much Xayah. He played Xayah all through the EU LCS. I'm pretty sure Xayah's like his top played champion even in solo queue. Like this guy just spams the fuck out of Xayah. But nobody has banned Xayah from him. Makes no sense to me.
direction, kind of buck the trend of Ardent Sensor, at least for this game.
And that's a really interesting point, because if you're banning away a lot of these Ardent Sensor supports, Misfits has already shown that they are comfortable to play around this style, and they are...
Okay, Misfits they're throwing a curveball, right? Here's the first curveball. They're saying, okay, you got rid of all the regular Ardent Sensor supports, but what about Taric?
Perhaps trying to preempt
Mr.
what
Fabulous,
TSM was
that's
maybe
an
going to
Ardent
do.
Sensor support.
Taking away the Taric,
Maybe
it
not a
is an Ardent
standard one,
Sensor
but
support,
hey,
something that
he works,
Biofrost
he
is
gets
comfortable
heals.
playing.
And now TSM's like,
for
oh
them,
no,
do you go back
now we
to
gotta
something
deal
like
with
the
Ardent
Nami, where
Sensor
they did
again.
not have success against Misfits in their first game? Do you go for something like the Karma, or is Biofrost perhaps even pushed off an Ardent Sensor support altogether?
Yeah, it could force a weird support for TSM. I was hoping that it wouldn't be a Sejuani
So
here
Hunter
as well,
picks
just
up
quietly.
Sejuani.
Then Scarin could have picked Gragas, which is good into Taric, just dispersing them all whenever Taric presses the
Because I
ultimate.
guess they're figuring,
gonna be the
okay,
case
it's gonna
here. They've
be
changed
Ardent
it up
Sensor
and very
fucking game
quickly.
again.
The
So
trust in Cog.
Hunter picks up Sedge, and Doublelift picks up Cog because they know that Ardent Sensor in the bot lane without like a decent rebuttal for Misfits or from Misfits right now, like if you put Cog with it, it's gonna be trouble. And Cog Taric isn't an awful lane. It's not the best. I wouldn't even say it's like close to the best, but it works well enough. You know what I mean? So TSM's like, well, fuck, we banned out all the Ardent Sensor supports, which was probably a mistake in the ban phase again. They kind of they've done this twice in the ban phase where they kind of like cut off their nose to spite their face. So now they're kind of screwed. Now they have to find an Ardent champion to go against Taric. I mean,
Ogmore, though,
you
here.
kind of know Taric isn't like the best Ardent champ. He's not the most dangerous laning phase by any margin. You'll probably be okay with one of the minor like Ardent Sensor supports like Karma, Nami even is okay. Sona, all these are fine, The thing that Taric is an alarm bell for, and you have to think about it, is that Taric is really good at Baron takes. He's really good if like they have a really strong front line. He makes the front line super hard to kill, and he like any objective take with Taric is just like the cleanest objective take ever. Nobody takes damage because it's Taric. So those are the things you have to worry about. You have to worry about playing around Taric ultimate. You have to worry about objectives, like really easy objectives for the enemy team, and you have to worry about that ultimate from Taric coming down, or you have to worry about the front line for Misfits, not like them having a really beefy front line. It's really hard to kill in team fight.
For TSM,
And
that's their
So
next pick.
picking
we could
Karma
be
is
back
very
into
good
the Nami
because you
Kog'Maw
want
once again.
disengage. You
This
want to be
is
able to
how
skirt
Misfits
around and
actually
get away from
beat
a fight
TSM in
once
game number
Tarek
1
pops his
of their
ultimate.
series. You know, many days ago, what now, last week, they actually were able to defeat that and famously double
And
starting
here you go.
kind of
Hansama
greedy
gets
way,
Zaya
you know,
again.
with the not Warlord's Bloodlust, he goes for the Fervor. He
Like I
goes for
said,
Cull
like this
instead of something
guy,
with a little bit more
he
HP,
plays
a
so
little bit more
much Zaya.
defensive
I
back.
actually feel
They
like
did get
the
taken
only
advantage of,
games
and
that
it was the
Misfits
Gragas
won
Maxlord
this
that was going
group
bot lane,
stage,
that
he
was
was playing
ganking
Zaya.
double
I
instance.
don't think
They
they
put
won a
them
game where
very
he
far
wasn't
behind.
playing Zaya.
I think probably the toughest part
Maybe
for
I'm
TSM
wrong,
here
but
with Gragas
I
taking there for Misfits is that TSM, they need to know
I
what
don't
their
know.
support is
He wins a
on
lot of
right
games
now,
with
because
Zaya.
they're going to keep losing bans in phase 2
He's
if they
clearly
don't take it.
very
Yeah, I certainly think they have
practiced
to lock
on
in their
Zaya.
support now. I'm guessing it's Nami or the Karma.
And
Karma is an option
TSM
as
picks
Art
it
says
or
there's
locks
support,
in
and they are
Karma.
gonna not go to Nami. I think
Okay.
this makes some more sense. Because you actually
Okay,
have a little
that's
bit more
fine.
support with those shields. Kind of, it is more protection. While I do think Nami is stronger in lane than the Karma helps to enable you in the team fights more than the Nami, and that's really where TSM struggled last time.
And it's still quite good as a pick into Tarek. Getting the extra move speed whenever Tarek tries to stun you may help in dodging that one
That's
out.
fine.
So there is absolute
Karma's
merit
a
in the
fine
pick.
pick.
I like Karma more than
TSM.
I do Nami, just for protecting.
Okay. TSM, now they see the Tarek, they see the Gragas, they see the Zaya, they go,
The Kog'Maw giving them
okay. They're trying to get some big, beefy, unkillable, impossible to fucking destroy frontline. Let's get rid of the one thing that can hop on the Kog'Maw. Super easy. Let's get rid of Maokai.
a shield above all else. It's still a very awkward spot
Okay,
that TSM have placed
that's fine.
themselves in.
That's good. It's not that bad of a
And
pick.
we have seen the Kog'Maw be extremely
And now Misfits go, alright, we're gonna ban Gnar. We've seen Haunter's Gnar. We don't like Haunter's Gnar. Haunter's Gnar is really strong. Get rid of the Gnar. So now if I'm TSM, I'm saying ban Cho'Gath. Okay? This actually just naturally this cycle flows. Ban Cho'Gath. Right now, your only counter pick into Cho'Gath is the Gnar. You haven't really shown that you're capable with Shen and causing that type of map pressure with Shen. They took away the only Cho'Gath like counter pick you have in your arsenal, or at least the only one that you've shown. Ban Cho'Gath.
effective, but we have not seen the Kog'Maw be extremely effective without a Lulu or Janna, right? And that is what TSM is trying to go down, because this pick is so powerful when it is really backed up by these ultra-powerful shields and ultra-powerful peeling of the Lulu and the Janna and Karma. While it does offer protection, it's nowhere on the level of those other two picks, so we're going to have...
They banned Cassiopeia. I don't know. I don't know why either. Like this cast ban is why? I'm sure there's a rationale for it. Okay, no, there is no rationale for it. There's like this cast ban doesn't fit in this pick ban. It's not something you should be scared of as TSM right now. This is a random, useless ban. Like, you haven't geared anything to mid lane. I mean, yes, Power of Evil has played Cassiopeia. He has. I'm sure he's comfortable on it, but Power of Evil is comfortable on tons of champions. Like, why just randomly his Cassiopeia? It's no... This ban is bad. Okay? There's nothing to be said about this. This ban is bad, and they should have picked Cho'Gath as the ban.
Have to see double up positioning very well, navigating these team fights very carefully, or you certainly can get taken out.
Well, having a major threat in the middle lane as well, so that Kog'Maw isn't just the focal point. It's not going to be a one carry composition. Bjergsen, I mean, Syndra is there, but I would almost prefer something like a Corki to be that second extra threat that can be auto-attack based, can get something from the Ardent Sensor.
And I think
And
that's
Misfits ban LeBlanc.
exactly the kind of
I'm
pick that Bjergsen might
not
be
really
going
sure about
for
that one
here.
either.
I
I
think
don't
it
know
fits well
why.
into the composition. But the issue with that is, if you
Maybe
go
Power
for
Vivo
the
just doesn't
Corki,
want to play
you're
into it.
very heavily magic damage, and that is why they are going to be going for this Jace. But
Okay. TSM picks Jace. So now the Cassiopeia ban makes sense. So they banned Cassiopeia because they know that Jace is good into a lot of champs, really bad into Cassiopeia. Something they strangely forgot against WE. Don't know how they forgot about that against WE. If they suddenly realized in this pick ban phase. But they went for the Jace. They need the extra AD because Cog does so much magic damage. Solid. Solid. Okay? But now you have a problem.
remember,
Namely,
TSM can still flex this top.
that
It could be
Cho'Gath's
mid,
still
it could
open.
be top. Misfits is going to have to select their draft without knowing which lane it will go in. And then
So, honestly, I think they tried to go. They tried to to go a little crazy. They're like, hey, we have Jace. It's like a back pocket pick. They're trying to surprise Misfits. But if you're gonna ban the cast and you're gonna use that ban for the Jace counter, just save it for last. Like the one thing you know you need in your composition that like you really can't deal with is Cho'Gath top lane. That's why they banned Gnar. You know that's what they want to do. That's why they banned Gnar. That's why they banned even Jarvan, you could say. They don't want to deal with or they want to get a Cho'Gath top and have you have no rebuttal because you've done this before, you've run into this before, and you failed at it before. So the pick should have been Cho'Gath. That should have been the next pick. If you're gonna ban Cass, pick Cho'Gath. Save Jace for the last pick. Give it to Bjergsen in the mid lane. Because Jace has a decent matchup against most of the mid laners. The only thing that they may have picked into Jace is like Ryze. I haven't seen Power of Evil play much Ryze. Okay. Uh, if I'm Bjergsen, I'm fine with that. Cho'Gath is strong here. It's not like they have a real way to like peel off a Cho'Gath. I mean, well, they have Gragas Cask. I don't know. Cho'Gath seems fine here. Scales really well. I think it's perfectly fine to pick a Cho'Gath here. The Jace is weird because nobody banned other AD mids. Like, who cares if Misfits locks in Jace on their composition? First off, it's bad on their composition. Jace isn't good with this comp. It's not. Like, if Jace ends up on Misfits team, they're like a full AD composition, and you're like only itemizing for AD. Okay, that way to screw yourself. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see how that's. You're frightened that they might take Jace from you. They're not gonna take Jace. They need a magic damage, an AP mid laner. They need an AP mid laner. Even picking Cho'Gath's great. It's great. I mean, even if they pick Jace as a counter, a pseudo counter to Cho'Gath, let's be honest, Alfari is good. Alfari isn't fucking Khan, okay? Like, Cho'Gath does fine into Jace as long as he gets a few armor items. Pick fucking Cho'Gath, alright? Ban, scratch the cast ban. I like where you went with the Cass ban. Cass is real fucking. It's a good counter against Jace. You want to give Bjergsen a solid matchup? You're right. Ban the Cass, take Cho'Gath. You don't have to pick Jace here. Misfits can't take Jace here.
TSM will be able to reactively do their last pick to try to get the most favorable possible matchup.
So what do Misfits do? They pick Orianna. They pick Orianna. Orianna's okay into Jace. They're like, it's not bad. She has enough shield to keep herself alive. She's solid auto attack champion. This gonna okay, it's a solid lane now. Orianna's fine into Jace. Okay. One-on-one, no problem for either side. And then they pick.
Orianna, Old Faithful back here in the mid lane for PoE.
I just love to see a tank that has heavy engage in the top lane for Misfits, because I think that Taric, when utilizing offensively, when using the ult offensively, you can really
Then they pick
force
Cho'Gath.
fights and you can get the
So now you're kind of screwed. Like your whole pick ban kind of revolved around getting Jace in the mid lane. Jace isn't really a good flex. Personally, I don't like Jace into Cho'Gath. I don't think Haunter plays that much Jace. I haven't seen Haunter play that much Jace. Like, it's not like Jace is some insane counter to Cho'Gath. It's not. Jace and Sejuani don't have insane kill pressure. So you can't abuse them together the way that Renekton and Sejuani did against Cho'Gath. Early. I mean, maybe you can a little bit. Not really. So you screwed yourself.
maximum value out of it. If you don't have a lot of
If this Jace is a Cho'Gath right now, then Misfits the first thing is Misfits, who clearly have like they play it because of their bans, they haven't shown that they understand that an AD threat is necessary for TSM. So if you pick Cho'Gath, what can they pick? They can pick Shen. Shen is open. They'll probably pick a Shen. Maybe they'll pick something else in the mid lane. Maybe a Talia in the mid lane. Maybe it's Orianna, but maybe it's Talia. I mean, and on the off chance it is a Talia, Talia is a fantastic matchup for Jace. And you have the counter pick for Bjergsen again. I don't understand why they never abused the fact. This is like the second or third game that they've had last pick, and they didn't abuse it to get Bjergsen a counter pick matchup. They picked his matchup right before last pick. This is nonsensical. This draft was bad. Blame Parth. Hashtag blame Parth. To be fair to Parth, this is only like, of the 4 matches, only 2 of them I would say were really bad pick bans. And this is one of them. So yeah, this was just a poor pick ban from Parth. Does that mean TSM can't win? Like, no, that doesn't mean TSM can't win. It just puts them at a deficit because once again, they have a weird composition. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't. They're playing Kog'Maw, but they don't have an insane front line. You know what I mean? Like, they have Karma, so they have some shields for Kog'Maw, and you have Sejuani, but for the most part, the Kog'Maw is left out in the rain again. Like, he doesn't have a fucking Janna or a Lulu again, and he has a Sedge, but not Jace top lane. So, like, he has Jace top lane is squishy as fuck. He's not a a tank to get in front of Kog'Maw. He's not even really a good engage champion for Kog'Maw. Sven wants to use his ult to engage. So like all of a sudden your engage is really wonky because the person who has to shield the Kog'Maw in the back of the team from the damage sources is now wants to engage. Kog'Maw is not doesn't have a crap ton of protection. Bjergsen's playing Rise again, and like I didn't like his Rise that game or the last game that he played it against. I think it was against WE's Chase. I don't think it's that he's bad at Rise by any stretch of the imagination. I just don't think it fits into the playstyle that he wants to play in a late game composition. And that's why he keeps going tier Catalyst into Roa, which there's nothing wrong with that. But now like you have like this pseudo mid late game composition that just doesn't work. Like when Flash Wolves did a pseudo mid late game composition where they used the Renekton in the top lane. First, they got the Renekton snowballing. Second, they still ran protection for their Cog. They had Janna. And they also had not a late game scaling mid laner. They had Corki, which is a power spiking mid laner at his Trinity Force. So they had a power spike planned, and they had Kog'Maw as a backup, and they had the defense they needed for Kog'Maw in Sedge and Janna. Their pick ban was orchestrated very well. It's not wonky like this one is again. This feels awkward. The way they're going to play it is awkward. Because it is an awkward comp for Kog'Maw.
Tank left available. They picked Jace, flexing it between lanes as well, and they baited Misfits into saying, you can have the Cho'Gath, we want to counter it, we want to beat you in lane. It will beat it in lane very early on. The question is, can Alfari still get to the team fight?
And the question is, can Maxlor turn that around, right? The jungle interference sometimes can really make a big difference, and we've seen TSM 0 first bloods in 6 games throughout the tournament. If Jace gets put behind against the Cho'Gath, if Cho'Gath is able to outpace the damage with early Ninja Tabbies, early Bramble Vest, even the 1v1 can become a struggle. And from there, Jace offers almost nothing. You must win your lane.
Well, coaches will shake hands with each other for the last time in this tournament as Misfits and TSM are playing a very monumental tiebreaker. I mean, already day one just shook things up with Fnatic's Miracle Run, but
oh no, this pick ban was really bad by Parth. It was weirdly executed. They kind of brought it back in the end, or at the end they kind of, like with the cast ban, they came up with a pretty good idea, and they had like a something going on planned in mind.
They broke the first curse.
But then it's like they forgot their own plan, and then just like we're like, hey, we wanted. Which champ did we want? Oh yeah, it was Jace and that other one. Well, what's the other one? I don't know. Just pick Jace. We'll be fine. That's almost what it seems like they did.
By European and North American fans, regardless of the result, for so long. There's such a fierce rivalry between these two teams and between these two regions. Power of Evil touting himself as the kryptonite to TSM. You know, taking them down previously in the
But currently we've had 2 games with Doublelift on Kog'Maw. 2 games with Doublelift on Kog'Maw, and this is the meme right now, right? Where everybody's like, Doublelift's an awful Kog'Maw. Oh my god, look how he throws. Had 2 games of Doublelift on Kog'Maw, and in both of these games, the composition built around the Kog'Maw is
recall off and they'll be okay.
fucking
What we are looking
hot
at, though,
garbage.
through the early stages of this game,
It's
Hauntzer walks
awful.
in,
Like,
tries
it's
to
just
find
a
Maxlor with
bad
the blue buff,
composition
and
for
that's the place we
Kog'Maw.
have to start this conversation off with. Maxlor will be on the opposite side of the rift, most likely getting a full leash towards the
They're
red
just
buff,
not
means that he'll
setting.
be slightly ahead of
th-
Svenskeren
They're
in the
not
opposite
setting
side
the
of the
Cog
map.
up
With
to
the way
succeed.
TSM are currently posturing, I'm not sure if it's an
So,
early
like,
blue buff steal at level 1, or if he is going to go back to his
I
red.
don't know.
Yeah, and I'm thinking it's looking much more like that blue buff
If you
steal.
don't
We'll
set
see
the
what
Cog
they
up to
decide to go
succeed,
for.
the
I think
Cog can't
especially now
succeed,
that he's
man.
still here, it is going to try to be that invade for the blue buff steal, and they will try to make an advantage out of that. We'll have to see what the response
And then
is
this.
going to be, though, from
Okay.
Maxlor.
Stop. Stop. And then this. This is like the fourth time Sven has made a Haunter leash for him on the top side, even if they're going for a blue buff steal here, which I don't know why that matters. I don't know why it's. I don't think it's that big of a deal for Gragas. It's really not. So, outside of them just being like, hey, haha, we stole your blue, it's really not that big of a fucking deal for Misfits. And both times he's done this, he's done 3 times, right? 3 or 4? Maybe 3? I think it's 3. Regardless, he's done it on both games that Haunter is playing a top laner that needs to pressure early, that needs to get a lane advantage, and needs to shove in the first wave and get to first. Use that priority, use the fact that they're stronger level 1 and 2 to win their lane. He's done it with Renekton, and now he's doing it with Jace. And both times, well, maybe not both times, but at least this time, or last time with Renekton, we know it didn't turn out fucking well. It turned out awful. The Renekton didn't do shit. Like, it didn't power spike the way that needed to power spike. It was just, they were playing a weird seesaw game back and forth the entire game. It just, everything looked like solo queue. So we already know that things aren't turning out well for this game, because
This has been spotted
of
out.
this.
Maxlor can simply go from his red to TSM's blue and try to equalize through that, but jungle pathing does become more interesting in these kind of games. You have to be able to adapt. You have to be able to think on the fly.
And if you're TSM, here's the counterplay, right? Your bottom lane's a Karma Kog'Maw. It's going to push in at level 1. You immediately go towards the blue buff, try and place
Okay,
some vision.
this is
But
good
if you push
adaptation.
Maxlor away, who's
Sven's
gonna rush
decided,
full
okay,
camp,
I'm
but
gonna
maybe you can
stay
just see him
top.
doing that and give Svenskeren
I'm
extra
gonna
time.
clear out his
Even a
top
gank
side,
from
which
opposite
is,
side of the room.
This is
albeit
also
a
very
little
interesting
bit
from Sven,
dangerous.
because he's actually
But he's gonna
basically
clear
saying,
out the top
Maxlor's
side,
going to go to my blue, so I will get more
and
from
maybe
your
he's
side
gonna
of the
look
jungle
for a
than you
gank
will from
on the
mine.
Cho'Gath.
And the fact that Maxlor now has gone to this side of the jungle with 2 camps down means if Svenskeren can be defensive in his own jungle, can pick up his own red and blue, then TSM have gotten an early game advantage from the jungle path.
Maxlor goes, and he picks up Wolves.
Smashes down the Scuttle Crab with Sejuani
And now,
damage after the proc.
this is good for Maxlor. Like, the casters right now are talking about how TSM is gonna get 3 buffs, and they're gonna... Man, that's such a lead, you know, for TSM. But that's not the case, okay? Like, 3 buffs isn't a big deal. Blue buff isn't something that's, like, completely handicapping Maxlor. It sucks a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. Maxlor had the chance to go blue. The reason he's not going blue here is because he knows that Haunter wants to bully Alphari. He knows that Haunter wants to push up, get damage on Alphari, force him back in lane, and force him under-leveled. He knows that. So he prioritized. He did exactly what Sven didn't do in the Cho'Gath game. He said, I'm gonna start bot lane, because I need to path to the top lane so I can protect my Cho'Gath. Because Cho'Gath is against an abusive top laner. That's why Alphari went to Wolves. Because he doesn't care about his blue buff, cares about the fact that he has to be in the lane, ready in case Alfari gets ganked.
And you can see Haunter trying to zone Alfari off the wave. This is a rough time for Joe.
It certainly is, and I'd also take a little bit of time to talk about the item and mastery choices from Doublelift in the bot lane. He received a lot of criticism for the fact that he started Cull, for the fact that he went Fervor instead of Warlords, this very aggressive style, very greedy style, many called it. He is Warlords, he is Relic Shields, this is more defensive.
Okay,
Haunter.
And now, if you notice, look at Alfari's pathing.
Scuttle Crab with Sejuani's E damage.
We have Scuttle, we have a ward here. Alfari hits the blast cone. He walks directly into Sven's jungle. I think he's gonna ward the red buff right now. Nope, he's not. He's walking around the Scuttle into Sven's jungle, and he's pathing already for a gank on the Jace. If Sven isn't there,
that he started Cull, for the fact that he went Fervor instead of Warlords, is very
then,
aggressive.
you know, if Sven is there, I don't know. I still don't feel that Sven Skaren and Haunter have a better 2v2. You know, Jace is no Renekton. It's that simple. Maybe they do. They might be okay if Sven is there. But he's path to red and he's on his way down to bot lane because he 3 buffs. I don't know. This is just greedy and stupid. It makes no sense. Like, if he was gonna make this pathing where he takes the Groth and he takes the blue and then goes to his red or whatever, then Sven should have taken red and headed top lane immediately. Maybe gone red to Krugs. I don't know, it's taking so long to get his red either. I don't know, it's just a long jungle path maybe. But regardless, yeah, it is a long jungle path. Blue, Gromp, around, Scuttle, red. Like, this is just so much time. Like, look at Maxor's pathing. This is a 3-minute gank. It's red to, I think they do Raptors or they do Wolves. Maybe both. Red, Raptors, Wolves, and he's there. 3 camps. Red, Raptors, Wolves, he's level 3. That's enough experience. And he's looking for a gank. It's a 3 camp gank. 3 minutes. Haunter did blue, Gromp, long path, Scuttle, red. That's why this red is taking so long. His gank at most will be there at 340. Maybe they feel safe because they think, hey, Maxor can't come through the river, but I mean, there's tons of other ways into a top lane, especially if you have balls, and Maxor has balls. And I don't see why he would be afraid of Sven here. Sven's like not a dangerous jungler. Really doesn't have kill pressure on Maxor, so there's nothing to be scared of. Oriana's pushed into the middle of the lane, so she can come and support if all goes to hell. There's nothing to be scared of. There's no reason he's not going to path through your jungle. It's like they didn't even see this as a possibility.
Off the wave. This is a rough time for Joe.
It certainly is, and I'd also take a little bit of time to talk about the item and mastery choices.
You can kind of tell that they didn't see this as a possibility because it's 3. And this is like the 2nd or 3rd time that I've seen this happen, where Haunter just it's like he forgot his normal ward timing, like the 3-3-10 ward that you need to place. Um, maybe he's not doing it because he's like, okay, Sven is on the top side, so if all worst comes to worst, Sven will show up, but that's some distance.
For the fact that he started Cull, for the fact that he went Fervor instead of Warlords, this very aggressive style, very greedy style, many called it. He is Warlords, he is Relic Shields, this is more defensive.
There. So now you have Haunter pushed up, no warding, 3 minutes. Sven is completely fucking oblivious and just happy with the fact that he took 2 camps from Maxor for some ungodly reason. He's not supporting the person who was supposed to put pressure on his lane. Haunter, like, the only good thing that Jace can do to the Cho is put pressure on him early. He's not there to give any backup for Haunter for this. He didn't play sports for Haunter for this. Nothing right was done here.
Gonna be getting ganked here.
Hits Maxwell here, ready to go. Gonna try and power slam out of the way, but doesn't quite get enough distance. Knocks Maxwell back in Haunter. I think at this rate he just knows he's dead. No, a late flash might save him. Dodges the rupture and gets
Okay,
out.
Haunter gets out. He blows his flash. He's probably gonna back. He's gonna have to use TP.
Away out of the targets as well. It was level 3 on the Gragas, opposed to 2 on the Cho'Gath. Uses that
And now Sven's at Raptors. He's like, whoops.
Certainly patient play there from Haunter, but even just that helps
So,
equalize
time
the
to
lane
finish
so
his
much.
jungle path.
This is not an impressive buy from Haunter. He comes back with a longsword. He did well to survive the matchup, but now he has to be in this situation where he's a bit scared. He's worried about repeat ganks, and again, you want to be smashing this lane. You don't want to be farming passively. You don't want to be worried about where the jungler is.
Well, benefit here is that it looks like Maxwell's about
I like
to get
this ward.
rebuffed.
I think it was Tarek who did this and roamed up to the blue buff to get vision on it. I like that ward.
No contest available because Maxwell's
Now
got
they
the
know
area,
for
so
sure
Sven's
that
guaranteed
Sven
huge
pathed
lead
all the way
in the
around.
early stages of the
Basically
jungle.
cleared
He
both
certainly does,
jungles.
and this is a result of abstract pathing from Maxwell just that little bit going towards top lane of all places. Not necessarily vertical jungling, it was more diagonal trying to get a gank off. This puts Sven Skaren with experience pretty
TSM's
far ahead.
fine.
Especially, I think that experience is very
Their bot lane has a war in the river. They don't really have to be too afraid of anything here.
On Sejuani. You know, people talk a lot
They're
about
trading
the
okay
power
against
in
the
Taric.
Taric.
Of the Sejuani. I think that it does outpace that.
They're
of the
doing
Gragas,
quite well
but
actually in
Gragas
trading.
is stronger in the early stages. So the fact that Sven Skaren
So
was
like,
not invaded,
I
was
mean,
not
this kind of
harassed,
proves
was
that
not
Karma's
pushed
still
off of his
viable.
camps,
She's
does
okay.
bode
She's
well
not
for him
the
having a better
best,
game
but
here.
she's okay if
Ericsson
in a
thumbs up in
pinch
the mid
for
lane.
Ardent
Already gone back
supports.
for the early similar thing with that early lost chapter, so looks like things
She
are going
will
just
most
fine so far.
certainly
Freeze really nice from Bjergsen though. The fact that he's
work in a
actually able to
pinch.
hold those minions will mean he denies a few CS, a little bit of experience at least there in the mid lane from Power of Evil on that Orion.
Ooh, root there on Firefrost, nice from Hans Sama, but Poke coming back. Doublest actually taking it back, so TSM just happy to push the lane in, get their CS lead for now, although it has been evened up by Hans Sama with that big wave. And then looks like Double If returning with a dagger and a pickaxe as Sven is camping the top lane.
Yeah, you can see he's actually
And
trying to
now
protect
Sven's on
Haunter,
the
allow
camp
him
the
to push
top
in.
lane
Haunter's
strat.
out
He's
of
like,
the
okay,
tunnel,
I'm
so
here.
Sven Skaren essentially needs to
I
be
know I'm
here
late,
to
but
prevent any
I'm here
sort of
now.
gank. He wants to be there in case the Gragas does show up. This is not really an aggressive move that they're trying to make.
Alright, you two. Ignar going in. Firefrost gonna
But
last
the
a
thing
couple of
about
minions.
this
Double
is
If
the
returns.
commentators they
MSF
remark
will
on
take
this.
it
The
back.
fact
Maybe
is,
TSM can see it though.
you have an aggressive
The
top
ward there,
laner.
and Sven
You
gonna
know,
retake control of the left side
you have to
scuffle
be
back.
proactive
Fairly
with
steady
your
early
jungle
game,
decision
but the one
making
gank that happens
when
in
you
the
have an
top lane,
aggressive
Sven
top
Skaren
laner.
doesn't do anything crazy. He just helps Horn to get a recall.
When
whenever
you're
he's able to get
trying
the
to protect
recall.
the Cho'Gath,
That's
you're just,
surprisingly
you
good
know,
from Alfari,
you're
but
going
now
there
Sven Skaren's gonna come back, and they won't
as a
expect the
response,
Sejuani
just
to
in
be here.
case.
He's expecting Haunter to go back to base.
When you
Again, though,
have
I don't really
a
know if you can actually kill Alfari. He has his flash, it's still low
Renekton?
mana Jace. They are going to try to do something, and Bjergsen is coming up
you
as
you
well.
can't,
Six,
or
and this could be
Jace,
bad
you
news.
just need to
Robo
be
off the
fucking
power of
aggressive
evil,
and
but
make
Sven
a
doing lot of damage to Alfari.
aggressive
It's actually
call.
Bjergsen, excuse me. He's on the rise, but not enough.
They do get a flash,
Okay.
though, still a nice roam
So
there from
Bjergsen does a
The
nice
wave was
level
pushed
6
up, so he's
roam
not really losing
to
anything.
make
They
his way
increase that
top
wave,
lane
they
just to
get a
put more
summoner,
pressure on the
and
top
I would
laner.
say mission accomplished
They
there for
did an
TSM.
odd man
Absolutely.
roam.
Of course,
That's
Alfari
good.
hadn't
They
shot
blew the
yet, so
flash,
just being on a
equalized the
Doran's shield
lane.
means he is susceptible to
But the
dying
damage
to
is
any
kind of done
gank.
here,
Bjergsen
right?
finds some free time to get up there.
The damage is already done here. Maxor's already kind of done what he's had to do, right? He's babysat his Cho'Gath through the first 6 levels. He managed to do that. This is what Sven couldn't do in the game against Flash Wolves. He didn't get his Cho'Gath through the first 6 levels, and then leave him alone. Cho'Gath's level 6 now. He's got his first back, he's equal in CS. He's got Feast. He's fine. Jace isn't going to do anything to him now. Had Sven done exactly what Maxor did, like in the Flash Wolves game, they would have won that game. But like the way that this is panned out, this is literally like Misfits showing them how it's done. I mean, a part of me wants to just scream, stop starting topside, but I mean, that's not the only problem here. They had a chance to make this work. Sven could have easily just gone blue to scuttle to red and then just been in top lane. 3-minute gank. Why not? It's a Cho'Gath, he's underleveled. Yeah, maybe you're not as strong as like a Renekton Sejuani, but you have a Jace. Jace does some damage. He's got a door on his blade. Give it a shot, you know? And instead, he did like 4 camps, and now it's a 350 gank. And Maxor just said, fuck it, I'm gonna gank you. So now you can't go aggressive.
There as well. Doesn't help with his mid lane control, but he's going to be fine with timing to be able to go up there essentially for free.
Trade back by double. It's actually someone getting aggressive though on the Xayah. Makes sense.
And we've said this before.
Back for a bit of extra damage.
This doesn't.
So certainly has the early win as far as flat AD.
We've said it before that like this pathing didn't put Sven ahead. You know, Maxor's up in creeps. It's equal in experience, maybe a little higher in experience than Sven right now.
When you do complete it, you are such a strong point, especially in comparison to Infinity Edge users who generally need a second item. And even
Maxor's fine. His pathing was great. And Sven's pathing was pretty questionable.
You still really want that second item to get the most from
and now there's just nothing they can do top lane. Like, first thing, Cho'Gath goes back. He bought a pink, protect himself from any further ganks, because his flash is down. And he bought a Bramble Vest, so now he's 100% fine against any lethality that the Jace builds. He's just not going to be able to kill this Cho'Gath. And Maxor's pathing is he comes out of base, goes and does Krugs, and then because TSM keeps relenting this river warding, and this is like the 3rd or 4th game that they've done this, where they've just allowed the enemy team to get 2 to 3 pinks in a river, either the top river or the bot river, and just said it's okay. So Misfits, they did that again. They got pinks, I think that's Tarek's pink in the river. They got a pushing lane with Xayah, even though it doesn't necessarily have to be a pushing lane, but because Sven has been top so long, because he took a camp and another camp from Maxor, and then he did red, and he did Scuttle, and he did Raptors, like he's been top so long and for no gain that Bio and Doublelift were like, okay, we're gonna play safer under turret and play a little bit further back. You can see that in the posturing of both these laners, even from Bjergsen, where he's like, okay, I'm gonna play a little bit further back. They have River completely pinked. We're Darka over there. We don't want to get ganked, so they're not going past River, right? And because of this, Maxor says, alright, I'm gonna do Krugs. They're pushed back in lane. Bjergsen's pushed back in lane. River is completely pinked. We know it's completely pinked. I'm just gonna backdoor fucking Dragon.
A lot of that I don't feel like relates to anything directly. TSM, their early games haven't been all that hot.
No, it's been very, very poor. You know, they are probably the worst early game team in the
It's just a cheeky backdoor, cheeky steal.
Has been great, but you need to be able to
and it's working
without being too far behind. And I would say that so far,
And they even
Jace
got
an
vision
early
of
game
Sven
gold lead, but when you're looking at the top side, for
with
Alfari
that
versus
ward
Haunter, he
placed
already
by
has
Ignar.
Scramble Vest. He's rushing towards Tabbies. He's gotten past a lot of the super early game
So now
struggles
TSM
that you're normally
knows
supposed to have
that
because of the gank
Maxor
from
was bot
Maxor,
lane,
and then you're
and
asking
he just
yourself,
cheeky
well,
stole an
did
Ocean
Sven
Drake.
Scaring get enough with
Okay.
the experience advantage, with the triple
Things
buff?
don't look good right now. Not only is Cho'Gath scaling well, he's fine in lane, doing completely fine, equal in CS. It's not what you wanted to see. They just got an early Ocean Drake with a double tank composition. Triple tank if you count the Taric. Definitely not what you want to see if you're TSM.
Outweigh that, and for now, I'd say no.
Well, you can see at least Misfits do get the Ocean Drake as well, so kind of alleviating some of the gold lead that TSM have accrued, but a very close game. 8.5 minutes through, and no first blood has been given up by TSM just yet. They could get their first one of the tournament.
They haven't got a first blood yet at Worlds. That's very tragic for TSM, but you're right. I mean, the slower start from Misfits, perhaps it is being nervous that this puts you into the quarterfinals. More patient play, more reserve play, but at the same time, Cho'Gath into Jace, you're
Currently, Maxor is just outplayed Sven. Extremely
the
hard.
Blitzcrank isn't there from them either. It's an ardent sensor user. You're expecting Misfits to start ramping up more around the 15-minute mark and try and stamp TSM down there.
Yeah, I really
Sven's
agree.
just
And
getting
I
some
think that
vision
Misfits
of
are very happy
Maxor.
with this early game because, while yes, there is the double lift on the Kog'Maw, great scaling on that. Ryze has strong scaling as well, so does Sejuani. The scaling is very strong here, too, for Misfits. And
That was just a random shockwave by Power of Evil.
Is that of this Cho'Gath.
This is something I've seen Power of Evil do so much. He just like random shockwaves people for like pressure in lane. I don't think it's good because it never seems to actually do anything, but whatever, man.
Sven actually going in onto Maxor here. Alfari gonna make it first, of course.
Sven's being aggressive on Maxor because the lanes are equal mid lane, and Ryze has his ultimate, so he'd be quicker to rejoin. So he knows that he can go a little bit aggressive on Maxor. They're equal level. They both have ult. The top laner, Haunter, is pushed up. He has lane priority. Bjergsen can arrive first. And Shockwave was blown on Bjergsen, so most of Orianna's damage is down. So they're like, fuck it, we can invade a little bit. They can't really kill us.
Now, he doesn't know where Bjergsen is, I think, which is why there was a respect flash paid by Maxlaw. Benefit of the doubt that Bjergsen was there. He wasn't. He was close, though.
And you always have to know that once you get hit by the passive there from Sejuani, the ultimate can follow that up. If Ryze comes
Not sure why he didn't go back and clear the blue.
That's such a big amount of CC.
I mean, he did get some pinks in there. It's not big of a deal, I guess. Like, clearing the vision, it's not big of a deal.
NA Jace.
But now he's on his way bot lane again.
Well, Zip once again, truly.
Which may be the best decision at this point. Like,
Game here, right? And certainly
the chance of Jace snowballing that top lane is gone. There's no way that's gonna happen.
They really
It's just not.
with it in the top lane, although it was a very meta pick.
So
That
that whole plan is gone. So he's like, maybe we can get something on the bot lane. Even though I don't think so. Taric ultimate and Xayah ultimate. And Ignar has been doing an exceptional job at keeping tabs on Sven at any opportunity he has to gank, getting wards and camps, and, you know, popping the blast plant. Like, he's just all over the map because of the pressure that Xayah's giving him and the room to breathe because he's constantly able to push the lane.
Around the middle lane pressure, the fact that he can successfully clear minion waves because he's also level 9 and start trying to make a play.
But the issue right now, this is the primary issue right now. For Misfits composition, it's okay for Misfits right now to do nothing. They have the comp that TSM has been playing, you know? They have the late scaling comp. It's okay for them to do nothing. They don't have to win right now. They don't have to get a kill. They don't have, as long as they're even, they don't give a shit. They could even be a few 100,000, maybe even 1,000 gold behind. They really don't care. Their comp is fine. It's quite good late game. So they can do nothing. The pressure is on TSM to make something happen because you have this weird pick Jace in the top lane that has to snowball to be good and productive. So you have to start making some proactive plays and get something done proactively. And currently it's 11 minutes in the game and we're at 0-0. So
With all this early armor,
Misfits is winning.
Hanser is sitting there shooting the Cho'Gath, and he's taking a significant amount of damage himself, even though Alfari is not really hitting his abilities. You really start to whittle yourself down, and the amount of sustain on a Cho'Gath can get to the point where you struggle to push him out of the lane whatsoever.
Once going to try, certainly, although Maxwell has roamed his way back up through the lane to try and get this first blood. Oh, Rupture lands. Haunter maybe knows what's up. There's the silence in.
Rupture
Has to do it
lands.
quickly. Great
Flash
knockback into
knockback.
Alfari, but Maxwell, he wants to dive ult. He's going to push
And he
into safety,
survives.
and Haunter escapes again.
Hanser escapes again.
It's just
Well done
really,
from him,
really
but
strange that
Maxwell's
Hanser's the one
tactic has
getting
released
pressure
so
on
much pressure.
him
It's actually a CS
when he
advantage
should have
for
got the
Cho'Gath,
pressure
which
in
is
this lane.
very, very nice. And we
They
haven't
just
seen
really don't know how to
Zenzerg
play around the
really
top
unleash
top
the
side
ultimate yet.
at all.
He
They
is
don't know how to
level
play
eight on
around
the
the
same
carry
one,
top
but he's
laner.
still
I don't know
farming
why
it
they
up,
would pick
trying
carry
to
top
get vision
laners
for
if
his
they have
team,
zero idea
playing
how to
very
play around it.
passively, and you would like to see him get involved in
All I
some
can
of
say
these
is
plays.
And it may not
watch
have proven
Longzhu play.
successful the
You
gank,
know,
but I
like maybe
appreciate that he
they
went
need
for
to
a
watch
late
more
gank
Korean
when he saw
VODs.
the vision everywhere
But this is
except the
just not
lane
how you
for
snowball a
TSM.
top
So the
laner.
one place he could have went for a gank, he chooses,
It's not
and
how
it
you
was
support
mostly
your top
successful
laner.
in that the teleport
This
was used as
this
well as the
reminds
flash.
me, everything that's
Alfari can
gone on
hold
in
on to
this
his. Now that gives a window of opportunity.
this group
Certainly
stage
does.
has
You gotta give
reminded
some
me
credit
of
as
like
well to the fact that,
Dyrus.
Sven's earlier
And how
topside
TSM used to
visit
just
did force a
sacrifice
flash
Dyrus and
Dragus,
just like,
because
if
Maxwell
Dyrus
had no
feeds,
plan
that
for
was
his
the meme,
ganking.
if Dyrus
If he
feeds, you
did,
know, TSM is
maybe
bound
that's
to win.
actually a dead
That's what
Jace.
this looks like. Like, they're just sacrificing Haunter and just being like, okay, man, like, you do you, you're a top laner, but come on, you can't do that. This is a pro game.
Doublelift just walks out from under a Hans Summoner in onto Bifrost, trying to chip him back away.
Lots of damage from both of these teams. Hansama gets the worst end of that trade, however. Arden Center for the Karma means they're
This
stronger,
invade's fine
and they're
because he
trying to push
knows
that
that mid
Yeah,
lane's
they're trying to
both
take this advantage,
pushed.
take it into the
Like,
jungle here.
it's a
Bjergsen roaming down. This
completely
could be the first
open
major fight
lane.
of the game.
Oh, red buff goes over to Maxwell now.
Bjergsen can show up, bot lane can show up.
Not want to get shockwave.
They're
Yeah,
fine
Sven
for that.
actually anticipating a very early smite coming
At
out of
worst,
Maxlor, so
it's
trying
like
to
a
free him. He
4v4.
tried to time it so that it would come down second, but it's Maxlor who gets the better of him there and takes away the red buff.
Sejuani's will combo the auto attack when it's at 4 stacks with the smite,
Unlucky.
So he uses the auto attack and doesn't smite, or then tries to smite.
Unlucky
at the
they
same
didn't
time.
get the
So his
steal
delay
in
there
the
was a
end.
bit awkward.
But
Nothing that he wanted, unfortunately. Red buff just casually to Maxlor.
If I will say though, for Bjergsen, this is a very strong point in the game. The initial
regardless, I'll say this again.
Once
again.
3 AP topside makes you very
Sven is
powerful.
not
It starts to
ahead
get a lot
because
more
of all of
aggressive.
this. He's not.
Oh,
This isn't making him ahead. It's not.
He with the realm what maybe trying to join in. Good juke out of the
Nice
rupture from
sidestep.
Haunter. And Bjergsen in
Damn,
support.
Sven has, or Hunter
really
has
doing a good
just
job absorbing this pressure.
really
He's actually
showcased
building
mechanics
towards
this
a blade
game
of the
because
room
he should
thing,
have
it
died
looks
like 2 or 3 times.
Accepting that he cannot rush the armor penetration because the lane has not been as dominant as he would like. He's now going to have to go more for that 1v1 style. The percentage
Now
of
Sven's
damage
pathing
against the
directly
Cho'Gath,
onto a
and
ward.
the lifesteal honestly did withstand all that return hit.
Yeah, it's defensive. It's split push build for Haunter. He's going up against the Cho'Gath, so it's a very apt
They're
build
just gonna try to
nonetheless.
steal the
Which means
Mountain
that
Drake with the pressure that they put bot lane, and apparently they're keeping
It's
mid
also gonna
lane.
be really hard for him. They could actually be losing a lot of damage on this turn
But
because TSM is
yeah,
on the bot
like
side.
in response
Again,
to
Maxlor
this,
up to the top
Drake,
side, playing around
because of
Alfari,
this, because
going
they
against the
saw
conventional
spotted
wisdom
Sven
in
on
this
that
meta
ward,
of playing only to bot
Maxler
side,
is just like,
and
okay,
so far
we're
so
just gonna
good with
push
this
Haunter
red
out of
buff.
lane
They
and
may
start
actually be
chunking
able
your
to
turret,
knock
dude.
down this turret straight up.
Looks like Haunter's just going to concede control. Even
So
Power
now
Wheel warming
TSM's
up,
like,
so
okay, well we
they
got
have to
Mountain
make a
Drake,
trade
but we
here.
have to get this
It's a
turret
rush
down now.
We'll see if TSM can actually do this
And
with
look-
their own sensor, but not even
Look at
close.
No,
this.
they're not going to win the trade, but
Haunter's just going to concede control. Even Power Wheel roaming up, so
You see the positioning of Zaya and Tarek? This is the position you take as a bot lane? Like, this is just notes, because, like, TSM seemed to have trouble with this idea, seemed to have trouble grasping this over, like, 4 games. When you know that the enemy team has more numbers, more potential for numbers, in bot lane, you know for a fact, because you have two top, your Oriana's like headed towards top, all your vision is headed towards top. This is the position you take. Not under turret, right here, like Doublelift and Bio did like 5 times. Not right here. Back here. Because you've made the call that this turret is something we're willing to trade, at worst. So there's no reason for you to be up here. You're never going to clear the wave. It's not worth it. Just back off, go to the second turret, be safe, don't die.
It's a rush now.
It's exactly what they do. They go to the second turret, they take it back.
No, they're not going to win the trade, but TSM have the numbers advantage. They had the opportunity to keep Svenskeren down here, but with how fast Misfits got that turret down, I don't think they can push for anything further. They'll take the Drake, though. It's a slight edge, perhaps.
Yeah, and it's going to have to be one that pays off later, right? With that Mountain Dragon, you don't get any real combat stats. It's about, can you take an objective later with that? Can you rush down a Baron? Can you siege more effectively because of it? And to their credit, you know, in the split push, if Jace is going to be building something like a Blade of the Room, Black Cleaver split push style build, that will help him when he pushes up to those turrets. But definitely not the early game that Haunter wanted, although I will say Doublelift is at a really strong point.
It does also mean if they group up with Haunter around an objective like a Baron, they will take that down incredibly quickly.
Nice sidestep by Bjergsen.
Coming, flashes it. Dazzle also there from Ignar, so good for Bjergsen.
I actually like the roam from Ignar. It's not like he has much else to do.
Yes, Misfits especially are trying to be
Zaya and Tarek, they're pushing top lane for Scuttle. Okay, so they're getting more numbers up top lane for Scuttle. They're just moving quicker than TSM did. They just gave up the bot lane to Cho'Gath, and they're like, okay, on our way to top, we're gonna take Scuttle. So that gank was good. It was like along the route, a free flash, basically. There's no way Bjergsen could have known.
The decision does go both ways. Hansama, the rest of Misfits, they choose not to commit to the Rift Herald. And you mentioned how strong Kog'Maw is. Well, it might be an essence or even of a Hansama.
Okay.
Just needs the zeal.
Alright. And here's what just happened. Run it back. Everybody's taking Scuttle. So now all eyes on TSM. Power of Evil's mid. They know Ryze is here. They know Karma's here. Cog's here. And Sedge is here. They see all of them trying to stop them take Herald. First thing Power of Evil's gonna do is he's just gonna book it. He's gonna go right down the river.
Is on the other side of the map. They have
Ping?
moved up there.
Ping? Should I come? Should I? Okay, bye.
Doublelift is very, very strong, but certainly still susceptible to
His
the
lane is
engagements
pushed.
of the
Okay,
Gragas,
bye.
the Taric, and the Cho'Gath.
I guess the decision does go both ways. Hansama, the rest of Misfits, they choose not to commit.
What's the rationale for this? Well, Bjergsen's mid. You know that. You know he's mid. He has to clear that wave. TSM has to clear the wave top, or they went to clear the wave top with their bot lane. And Sven was just at Rift Herald alongside Maxor. There's no way anyone else could be bot lane. Power of Evil was the only person that could be bot lane. The only possibility here is for Bjergsen to sniff this out and be like, wait, where did Power of Evil go? And use his ultimate bot lane. Not to back, but to prepare to use his ultimate to protect his J4. Or to protect his Jace.
To the Rift Herald, and you mentioned how strong Kog'Maw is. Well, it might be an essence.
See, now Bjergsen, he stopped his back, he pushed up, he's like, wait, where's Power of Evil? We lost sight of Power of Evil. And there you go. We found Power of Evil squad. We found him. Goodbye, Hanzo.
Oh, good knockback again. Haunter already used the flash, so has to try and maybe clear it away, but Face is going to give Alfari first blood.
Honestly, I think that flash was pretty bad.
Eric and the Cho'Gath.
I guess the decision does go
more as Haunter. Oh, good knockback again. Haunter already used the flash, so has to try and maybe clear it away, but Face more as Haunter. Oh, good knockback again. Haunter.
He could have got a little more distance, but he wasn't surviving that. Like, it's hard to be critical because there's just no way he lives there. Show's flash is still up. Feast is up. Yeah,
It's
there's
the
just no
Zeal
way he
that has to
lives.
start optimizing more as Haunter.
Oh, good knockback again. Haunter already used the flash, so has to try and maybe clear it away, but Face is going to give Alfari first blood.
Level 12
So
Shogun
that's
does an
literally
awful
just
lot of
like
damage. Power of Evil being
that's
able to roam, but
TSM
Hudson
not
Armor,
keeping
no, they're good.
control of the
Just
river
needs
again,
the free
and
first blood.
just
Yeah, they
Bjergsen
get the
losing
first
side of
blood.
his lane
TSM
again.
looking to try to push up on the top side, but all this
This is
intent
on the
on
mid
Hunter's
laner.
lane
This is on
has
their
really limited his effectiveness.
control of
Now they stop the base from
wards.
Bjergsen, and they're actually looking to try to catch him out.
Now Bjergsen's caught because he was standing on a ward. He didn't know it was there.
Just barely dodged the dazzle, but again, Tara bot side goes down.
I guess Maxwell thought he was Season 1 Gragas in that case, was trying to one-hit Bjergsen. Doesn't work as
Their
planned.
river control's been really, really, really bad in all these games, by the way. Just,
Perhaps this might be an overstay. Power of
I mean,
Evil
go back,
caught
watch
out
all my
here.
VODs,
Gets
watch
done up by
any
Finn,
VODs
but
from
no one
anyone,
stays
and
down
just
now. Forcing the
check out
fire
how many
with Bunny
times
Alfari
TSM
does
has
help
just
put in, and
completely
TSM,
lost
they're
control
happy
of
with that.
river with their
Yeah,
wards.
they do lose the Rift
It's
Herald, though.
astonishing.
They get the teleport, and they're trying to pressure mid. Misfits wants the base, so we'll see if TSM can actually push up and get anything done here. Doesn't look like it, though.
Power of Evil looks for
Sven's
Sven,
doing
finds the
another
shockwave,
weird
but he's
invade,
gonna poke damage there.
gets a deep
TSM,
ward.
though, they've already
I mean,
pulled off
he got the
big
camp.
siege, so turret advantage will
Blew
swing
Power of
to
Evil's ult for
Misfits.
some reason,
There's a
but
lot
you
of
know,
emphasis
Power of
from
Evil just likes
Power
to
of
use
Evil
that
on
thing,
using
so.
the shockwave just
I don't know.
freely to do damage, not to secure the kills in any clutch moment. He knows that the fight had just ended and that there wasn't anything that was going to happen after. The wave was
But
already
currently,
clear.
this
So
is
he
your
takes a
problem right
crazy
here.
option.
This is your problem. You have a Jace. He's not really scaling well. Honestly, his itemization is pretty bad. I don't really like it. I almost would have rather seen Haunter just complete his Yomus, stop trying to build to fight the Cho'Gath, and just ran around. Maybe ran mid lane, put pressure on the Orianna, who's super squishy to him right now. Maybe swap lanes with Bjergsen, who Bjergsen should do completely fine into Cho'Gath. You won't kill the Cho'Gath, but farming against him is no problem. And honestly, as far as safety goes, Bjergsen is probably a safer champion here into a 1v1 lane against the Cho'Gath. You have your Realm Warp, you have tons of ways to get out and live. So, you have heal, you have flash. They should have switched Bjergsen to the lane, and they should have switched Haunter into the mid lane against the Orianna. Because he's going to be able to abuse Orianna. Maybe he's going to be able to put some pressure on him. They might be able to get a kill there. It's proactive. It gives you a winning lane.
And just throwing it out. Speaking of bottom lane, guys,
Haunter again.
And Haunter's caught out again.
Alfari looking to chase him down.
Bridgewater not bad. Rupture is just barely going to tag him. Team's coming down, but I don't think it's enough for TSM.
The team's coming down. Alright, Realm Warp. He's done. Okay.
This plan for Misfits
Realm Warp
is
wasn't up.
really working out well. Haunter
He
is
was
gonna
pushed
have
up in
so much
lane.
trouble finding
Okay, look at his position. Pushed up in lane to here. Past the river. Past the enemy try at their turret. Is that bush pinked?
any sort of effectiveness in this game where Cho'Gath
The try is pinked. Okay, he has a ward in
so
it.
he takes a crazy option and just throwing it
He's
out.
pushed up
Speaking
because
of
he has
bottom lane,
vision.
guys,
Haunter again is Alfari looking to chase him down.
Bridgewater not bad. Rupture is just barely going to tag.
Okay. He's pushed up because he has vision, and he's not respecting the fact that Maxwell could be at Krugs. Still, he's just really far up in lane. Like, for a guy with no flash on Jace, you're really far up in lane. Even if you have the ward coverage, you don't have all the ward coverage, you know? Like, you're far up in lane. It's that simple. He's gonna die. Especially against a Cho'Gath with... I can't for the life of me remember this item's name, but it's he's got crazy engage on the Jace right now. There's like no way the Jace gets away.
Team's coming down, but I don't think it's enough for TSM. Maxwell, flash body slam, just gonna try and take him down how far with the ulti, gets a second
And like
stack.
maybe
This
you can
plan for
say a
Misfits
few
is
times,
really working
hey,
out
you know,
well.
maybe he was just
Hunter is
like,
gonna have
my
so
team's
much
pretty
trouble
close.
finding any sort of
I'll be
effectiveness in
fine.
this game where
In case
Cho'Gath
anything bad
can simply
happens,
go to the
they
team
can run
fights
out
and
after me.
take over
But
in that aspect and really be
how
a
many
threat
times is
onto
TSM are you gonna
everyone
say
for
that? This is
TSM.
like
I mean,
the
Horse's
fifth or
a bunch of
sixth
gold away
time
from being relevant even
that
in
yeah,
the
your
split
team's
push
on the bot
right
side, but
now.
you're
He's
still too
currently
far away
staring
for them
down
to even
Alfari,
come and
who
help
has
you
a
in time.
bunch of
Like
armor,
it's
and now
just
2 kills
that's
with 2
bad.
fee stacks on top
It's
of
bad
that.
play.
He's not dying anytime soon in a 1v1.
Honestly, at this point, I don't think he's ever going to be under threat in the 1v1. I feel like with enough armor stacking and enough fee stacks, Alfari at the very least is going to be able to hold even, going to be able to wave clear. And Haunter really having a tough time through all this focus, unable to escape there. Not much he really could have done, but you have to wonder, is he
So
going to
now
be
your
frustrated, pushing up
carry
that far
top
without
laner
the vision,
is
not really knowing where
not
the
really
other team
carrying.
is?
He's getting shit on,
Well,
actually.
saw this already from TSM. Doublelift was very far behind in his early game, and the rest of his team was able to pick him
Down
back
30
up.
CS,
And
he's
Misfits are
0-2,
also a
Cho'Gath
team
is
that does well
2-0.
with the lead, and they've managed to build one in probably the most
Things don't
unlikely
look good,
place.
squad.
Yeah, definitely a place that you don't want that lead to be if you're TSM on the flip side as well, though. Jace being potentially irrelevant in that side lane means you may have to start grouping, and then you're grouping against that Cho'Gath.
This
It's
is
the
just a
teleport
quick,
game right
how much
now,
longer do I
though,
have to
if
watch
we're
this hot
contrasting
garbage
top
check?
laners where Hornster has the slight edge, and it means there's a window of opportunity for
Once
TSM.
again,
Not a
look
big
at the river.
opportunity by any means, but a chance to make a play.
And honestly, at this point, you're almost just hoping that Haunter can keep Alfari in a side lane. And if you can have a 4u4
All
team
3
fight,
turrets are
I
down.
think that would be a better chance
Look
for
at
TSM.
look at the ward. Like, holy hell, man! Look at the ward coverage from Misfits. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They have 11 wards on the map. Like, god damn, dude. Holy crap. Like, whew. At least clear some of these things out. Like, I don't know if TSM just refuses to go on ward clearing expeditions or they're just missing all the wards every time they use their sweepers, but 11 wards
Right
on the
now,
map.
because if you get into a full
They see everything that's going on up here.
Offensively, with Shockwave to follow up any sort of initiations.
They
on
see
Doublelift, I really feel that they will struggle to actually punch through the front line of
everything that's going on down here.
This Cho'Gath.
And the struggle's only increasing as well. TSM just lost another turret. Power of Evil's almost effectively solo pressure through the course of the laning phase. Does net them the outer turret there.
God
And
damn.
the vision that Misfits have right now,
This is how you
major
play
objectives.
right here. Cho'Gath split pushing. Look at this ward coverage. No one is gonna fucking get on this Cho'Gath. Misfits will know immediately if anyone moves.
Objectives. They have vision at Baron, they have vision at the Drake. That's kind of absurd. There is nothing TSM can do on Summoner's Rift without phoning into Misfits saying, hey, by the way, we're going to the Baron pit.
We also have to remember, Misfits still have a Rift Herald available for the next minute or so they can look to actually pressure and try to crack one of these inner turrets. And I think, again, going back to the scene of the crime here, trying to focus Haunter, trying to set up a dive on him when they're so tanky, and then utilize that Rift Herald to knock down the bot tier 2.
Well,
Like, credit to Maxlor, credit to Ignar, credit to everybody else that's on Misfits. Like, this is really well played, and it's nothing spectacular, it's nothing special. This is just an all-around improvement from what I saw the first time TSM played Misfits.
They do get a tower with it, which is very important.
Like, it's very standard, but just solid play. It's really Solid
transition
play.
for another stack for Alfari.
Yeah, and he is going to be stacking up very, very quickly. Going to be such a threat. Already 7 stacks at 21 minutes here
They've
on
been
the Cho'Gath.
proactive.
A number of
They're
those
getting
are the
better ward
non-minion stacks, which
coverage.
is so
They're
important
playing
because
to
you
their
can pick up
objectives,
at least
playing to
3 or
the
so
strengths
more
they have on
just
the
from
map.
minions, which is going to
They're
have a Cho'Gath
keeping
sitting at 10
pressure
stacks, and that's
on
such a
each
massive
side of the
threat
map
in any team
without
fight. So
relinquishing it
typically,
entirely. Maxlor
where
isn't
TSM has to
backing
have
as
a
often
fantastic
as
performance
Sven,
out of
which I
Double,
like a
feel
lot.
it really
He's
seems that
constantly on the map,
Kog'Maw is the
keeping
only
pressure on
character
the
who should
map,
be able to put out enough damage to actually punch through these carries.
But is Doublelift set up to be
setting
the hero
wards
that
down,
TSM and North America need? He's
getting
got just
vision,
the Karma protecting him.
starting
It's not a
ganks.
full shield, the Doublelift composition,
Misfits
and
looks
he's against the Cho'Gath that is that big.
fantastic this
Shockwave,
game.
very relevant. I feel like those are the two things that might take
The
him
worst
apart,
thing
but
I
even
can
his
say, or
damage
I've
output
seen
against
from
the Taric
Misfits
ultimate
is
could be
Power of
different.
Evil
Exactly,
randomly
and the
shockwaving
Gragas
people.
engage is
But
another
hey
thing
man,
you have to
when
be
you
very
got it
worried
like
about.
this,
If Gragas'
who
body's
fucking
been
needs an R
smashing
button?
in onto Doublelift with the Taric ultimate coming down, with Cho'Gath flashing forward, can TSM
This
absorb that
is
type of engagement
fantastic
and be
play
able
from
to fight back
Misfits.
when they are with this Jace who's kind of
I
stuck
mean,
in this
I'm not gonna sit here
position
and
where
say
he can't
TSM
really
didn't
do
give him a
revenge in the
helping
team
hand
fights,
because
but also doesn't have
not
side-game
only is
priorities.
So I
TSM's
think at this
draft
point, it
bad,
looks like you said,
TSM's
TSM is
play
gonna
was
have to
bad
find
this game.
either some picks or a 4v4
Like
that faces
you
them
can
without
blame draft
Alfari
from the
coming
beginning,
in. Doublelift does
but
it, so I
TSM
think
had a
Sven looking
chance
for
in this
Ignite.
game.
Good
They
flash
did,
burst from the
and
Taric
they
to keep
just
him alive, and Hunt Sama getting
they
the pressure,
ruined
but
it. They
Doublelift
threw
gonna
it
turn back around. Featherstorm forced out. Haunter actually walking over, didn't really want to
multiple
hang out on the
times.
side lane, but Power of Evil looking for the Shockwave forces 2 flashes.
Really nice there from PoE. The flashes
One
on
flash
both
for
the
2.
solo laners there, and Misfits with another advantage. The third straight
Zaya
match
got
looking to
kind
try
of
to get a
jumped on
fight
by
here.
Sven
Doublelift,
gonna get stunned
but as
up.
you can
Maxlor
see,
ready to bop him back into the
none
team,
of
but
these,
Deft does use
the
it.
COG
Forces
games
Doublelift away as well.
that
Now
everybody's
Sven
sitting
getting
here
out
and
for the
they're like,
Taric ultimate. It's
damn
gonna
it,
get them forward.
Doublelift
Sven
just
gonna
played so
overtake him.
fucking
Somehow
awful at
escapes
Worlds.
Alfari's fist.
God
Fire
fucking
Frost
damn it,
maybe
man,
not
like
so
why
lucky,
is this
gonna
guy
take the
throwing?
damage and have to be the sacrifice.
They'll take the
How
one
is
kill,
this
but major health
Kog'Maw's fault
advantages for
this
all
game?
of Misfits. There's no feast, but
Even
there
the
is a
last game.
smite if they want
Yeah,
to look
Kog'Maw
towards the
threw
Baron pit.
the game
They
at the
have
end,
vision
but the game
control
was already thrown.
established. TSM with no support.
Yeah, without even
Like,
the protection
even
of the
if
Karma
they
for
got
this
that Miracle
Kog'Maw,
team fight
Doublelift is
that
gonna
they
have to
shouldn't
play
have got,
so incredibly well. Misfits have started up this Baron. I don't feel like TSM can afford to give it
like
up.
Misfits should have won
So
that game
much
cleaner.
damage to Doublelift there. Fear Shock is probably dead. Ignato out the front line.
This
So
isn't
that's
on
fine for
Doublelift.
TSM.
I can't even say the AD carry or bot lane was really to fault in any of these 4 games.
Power of Evil takes him down, and now Haunter gonna get ruptured on the other end of it. Following to the silence of Sven.
They're just
Trying to escape,
stronger.
but Power of Evil carrying his team to the double, and Haunter
I can't-
cleans up the third.
That could be the end for
Bjergsen's
TSM
had
here
some
in this game.
strange
Instead of
suspect
getting
games. He's been
outskilled,
really
getting
quiet,
run over here
and
by
like it
Misfits.
doesn't.
Misfits right
In
back
none
to
of
the
these
Baron. It
games
will
has
be
he
a
seemed
3-1 for them.
proactive
And
with his
Doublelift
play,
unable to use
and
the
on
flash
every
to
game
dodge
he's on a
either
scaling
Shockwave
champ.
or the root
Um,
coming out of Pod Sama. And Misfits
I think I
have
saw a
full
quirky game with
control
Bjergsen
over
at
this
Worlds,
game.
and I really liked it because he was really active on the map and proactive, and he tried to get stuff going. And maybe that's what TSM needed. That's just a free Baron, by the way. Like, there's nothing more to commentate about this game because it's over. Like, there's Misfits is playing extremely clean. They're gonna close this game out. They have a huge advantage. It's over. Okay. So we're just gonna commentate on what we've seen in all these games. Okay, and maybe the underlying problems here. Like there's a desync between the top laner, a disconnect between the top lane and the rest of TSM. They don't know how to play towards the top lane. It's like none of them understand the lane, so they don't understand how Hunter keeps getting destroyed, like what's happening in the top lane, and how he's getting abused this way. Sven's pathing, I've remarked on it multiple times, is really bad, and it's been bad in almost all these games. Haunter's had some questionable moves. Bjergsen, maybe not. Doublelift and Haunter were mostly the ones where it's like, you shouldn't have got caught there a couple of times. Just not playing around, like, not playing safe, not playing around the fact that, you know, possibilities, not respecting the enemy team. But even more, TSM's warding hasn't been fantastic. Their ward coverage in River has been lacking in almost all these games, and it's just given like these quick routes to ganks in their side lanes. Their objective control in the top lane has been abysmal, which has given free turrets for Rift Herald. They haven't played around Rift Herald at all in any of these games. And it's like every game I've seen, I almost think I've seen Sven on Sejuani every game. I think he had Gragas in one game maybe. Sven doesn't put any pressure on the enemy team from Sejuani. He doesn't. He's not proactive on the champion. He's never really playing towards a gank. He's always playing a very controlling vision style of jungle. It's very Kandi-esque, but you still have to kind of put pressure in certain lanes if you're even with Sejuani. Especially when you play top laners like Jace and Renekton, they need that lane pressure. They need the first gank. They need something to get them rolling so that they have the priority in the lane, so that they can win the way that you need them to win. And Sedge is just not doing that in any of these games. Nobody's winning their lane, really. Like, I keep seeing Sedge show up bot lane at about like 5 or 6 minutes, trying to get something going. But every time you're playing against Ardent Sensor bot lanes, you're not going to get a gank on bot lane. You know, like, that's just how it works with good Ardent Sensor bot lanes. You're not going to kill them. They have barrier, they have heal, they have tons of ways of keeping themselves alive. You're not going to get them, like, unless you get extra help or a giant dive going, an odd man. It's just not going to happen. So that's just pointless pathing. The scaling mid laners on Bjergsen just aren't working. Because he's playing scaling mid laners, he feels like he has to play passive, and he's playing properly towards his lanes, but he's not able to put the pressure on the side lanes that usually Bjergsen has shown in the TSM games. Whenever he played Galio or Corki or Taliyah, that's usually been the way he's played his side lanes, where like Bjergsen was the one that was putting excess amounts of pressure on the side lanes and allowing for Sven to open up in later ganks than he should have. Not early gank passings, but like unusual gank pathings, because he's got Bjergsen in his back pocket. But with these compositions, Bjergsen's kind of stuck in the mid lane, and they've done a good job at bottling Bjergsen up in the mid lane and making sure that, you know, he can't really leave, or that it's not a good idea to leave, or like picking a comp where it's just bad for him to leave. So I don't know. There's lots of problems with TSM. This game was a showcase of a lot. There were a lot of inherent problems in the way they played this composition, and there were a lot of I mean, the problem started in the draft phase. Let's be honest. Like, we can't discount the fact that the draft was bad for TSM in this game. It was a bad draft, but the way they played out this game was worse, and it started from like minute 1. So that ends this awful escapade of about 7 hours of my life, where I feel like it's depressing, and this was really, really, really hard to watch. And that's my lovely girlfriend crawling to avoid the camera. Thank you for watching on that note, and you know, maybe some of the criticism from the fans to TSM about this Worlds is warranted. That's all I think needs to be said. It doesn't take a genius or some League of Legends mastermind to be able to point out the flaws in these games. It doesn't. These were bad games. So, Once again,
impressive for this team, and they
I'm Reflexin,
do
and
continue to improve. And you
thank
have
you for
to
watching.
say, with the early game leads that they have been able to establish,